Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum mittlerweile 34. Teil der The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky wunderbaren Walkthrough-Reihe hier auf Gamesground Unscripted, wie es hier mittlerweile heißt. Genialer Name, ich weiß. Wir sind letztes Mal im Schloss stehen geblieben. Wir sind kurz vor dem großen Bankett und ich rede gar nicht wahrscheinlich weiter groß drum rum, sondern versuche herauszufinden, was ich tun muss, um an diesem Bankett teilzunehmen. Wir müssen ja auch immer noch irgendwie zur Königin kommen. Aber erstmal, wen haben wir denn hier? Estelle, Joshua. Oh, es ist Factory Chief Murdoch. Mr. Murdoch, I thought you might be here. With mayoral class individuals on the guest list, we had a feeling you might also be in attendance. I must say, I never expected you two to win a tournament championship and end up hobnobbing in Gronsel Castle. Cassius kids to the bone you are. It took more than our upbringing to get here. Lots of people helped along the way. Ja, und das stimmt, ich kann das nicht oft genug betonen, wie gut mir das gefällt, wie es halt, man erreicht Großes, aber eben in einem Zusammenspiel mit anderen, was es halt irgendwie, auch wenn es immer noch sehr fantastisch und unglaubwürdig an sich ist, wenn man drüber nachdenkt, aber es wirkt glaubwürdiger. So. Have there been any developments? Well, right after you left for the capital, Captain Amalthea from the intelligence division came knocking. She forced me to come to this banquet, but I kept my mouth shut about Leyston Fortress. Professor Russell and company are still on the run, too. Army hasn't found them yet. But the longer we keep this up, the less chance they have. It's really only a matter of time. I asked Captain Amalthea if I could see Her Majesty and wish her well, but no luck. I was flat out refused. So in other words, we definitely aren't going to be able to do this the easy way. We sure aren't, but don't you worry, because we've totally got that covered. We will get the Professor's message to Her Majesty, one way or another. So sieht's mich aus. Er ist ja einer der wenigen, der auch wirklich eingeweiht ist in all das, was hier passiert. Deswegen, mal ganz angenehm, ne? So, hier ist auch niemand. Oh, Essen. Aber ich kann es nicht nehmen. Es ist traurig. Was haben wir hier? Oh, eine Bar. Die noch nicht auf hat. Wie frech. Und sie wollen uns sowieso nichts geben, weil Alkohol und wir Kinder und... Ach, wie frech. Da sieht man halt, es spielt halt nicht in Deutschland. Da könnten wir jetzt wenigstens Bier saufen. So. Wow. Und das finde ich mal wirklich schön. Das ist der Teil des Schlosses, den ich wirklich schön finde. Ich meine, wer will nicht so einen Garten auf dem Dach haben? Wenn man schon so ein riesiges Dach hat, why not? Wow, check that out. This must be the castle's garden terrace. Nee, Terrace, ne? Terrace. Ich hoffe mal. Ich bin ja hier absolute Ausspracheprofi, also was weiß ich schon nicht, ne? I'd say so. You can see the whole lake from here, and it overlooks the town too. Must be great for reconnaissance. Yeah. As nice as this is, we really don't have time to stop and enjoy. We've got a job to do. Ja. So. Oh, ihr müsst verzeihen, wenn ich so ein bisschen müde wirke. Es liegt daran, ich bin einfach sehr müde. Das kommt damit einher, wenn man sich überlegt, ein Kind zu kriegen, ne? So ist das Leben. Aber... Ey, was für eine geile Terrasse. Ist einfach 50 mal so groß wie unsere Wohnung hier. Traurig, aber auch geil. Das frage ich mich halt immer so. Es gibt so viele ultrareiche Leute mittlerweile, ne? Wo ich mir halt denke, wie unfassbar langweilig sind die. Also man kann ja über die ganzen alten Monarchien und so halten, was man will, und in der Regel sollte man davon nicht allzu Gutes halten, aber die hatten halt wenigstens Swag, die haben sich halt so riesige Schlösser gebaut. Habt ihr mal gesehen, dass irgendjemand sich heutzutage noch so ein fettes Schloss baut? Ich meine, es ist halt super dumm auch, aber trotzdem, wenigstens irgendwie mal was Cooles bauen. So, oh, this must be the Royal Keep. Vor allem heutzutage werden die Arbeiter dafür ja dann auch bezahlt, ne, also. Who are you? Hey, you two. We're here as guests of the Duke. Is this where Her Majesty lives? Of course it is. But for the last few days she hasn't been feeling so well. She's not seeing anyone right now. Oh, you've got it all wrong. We weren't even thinking of that. Just thought it would be amazing if she were to even take notice of us. Does Princess Claudia sleep here as well? No, it's just... Hey,
Princess is focused on looking after Her Majesty. Neither of them has time to deal with the likes of you. Might I inquire as to what's going on here?
Oh, das sieht aus wie wie heißt sie nochmal, Hilda? Middle-aged woman. The dinner party will be starting soon, so I will be returning to the maid quarters. And who are our guests? They're from the team that won the martial arts competition. It's only because of that victory that someone of Brace's social standing would ever be invited here. A Brace's social standing?
Such discourtesy.
You would insult those who were personally invited to the royal castle?
No, that's not what...
Those invited by the Duke should be treated with all the respect due to those invited by Her Majesty. I sincerely hope you have not forgotten that.
Understood.
Oh, she's intense. I wonder who she is.
But madam, you can't just allow them to pass. Surely you understand the reasons of that the colonel laid out.
Yes, I'm quite tired of hearing them repeated to me. I'm terribly sorry, sir and madam. Security has been heightened, and as such the royal keep and its surroundings are off limits. If I may ask, would you mind waiting in your room until the dinner party begins? Alright, that's fine, we'll do as you ask. I apologize, we weren't trying to cause any trouble.
Fine then, just don't let it happen again.
Safe return to you. Sie scheißen sich ein bisschen in die Hose. I apologize that you were subjected to such dreadful behavior. My name is Hilda. I am the head maid of Branche Castle and I oversee all of the housekeeping duties. Aha! We had a feeling, Forgive my rudeness, but are we previously acquainted? Well, someone told us about you. Genau, und jetzt geben wir ihr nämlich endlich den Brief, den uns Julia gegeben hat. I know this handwriting. You see? We also have our bracer emblems and identification with us. I see. Please come with me to the maid's sitting room. We can discuss the matter further once we are there. I understand. We need to deliver Professor Russell's message to Her Majesty, correct? Right. For now's not a good time, we can try later, but no, it's not an issue. But those special ops men have had the royal keep under constant surveillance for some time now. Only the Duke, the Colonel, and hired attendants such as myself are allowed in. Which means that a private audience is probably a no-go. What do you think, Estelle? We could ask Hilda to relay the Professor's message to Her Majesty. No, I'd really rather speak to her face to face. There are just too many particulars we don't know that we really need to discuss directly, like what Duke Dunnan and Colonel Richard are after. Estelle and Joshua, I have a bit of an idea. Could I get you to return here once the dinner party is over? Why? Have you thought of a way for us to see Her Majesty? I believe I have. It may be difficult, but I think it's worth a try. I'm going to need some time to get ready, so can you come back after dinner party? Awesome! Understood, we'll be back then. I'll be waiting. Food prep is done, so I think we'll begin serving shortly. For now, it's probably best if you wait in your room. Ja, also es scheint, dass wir doch eine Möglichkeit gefunden haben, zur Königin zu kommen. Was das ist, werdet ihr gleich sehen. Es ist auch ein bisschen witzig. Es wird gut. Ich glaube, es wird gut. So, genau, aber bevor das passiert ist, sie brauchen ein bisschen Vorbereitungszeit, also gehen wir erstmal in unser Zimmer zurück zu Sinn. Hey guys, talk about being late. The party's about to start, you know? Sorry, we got so caught up in sightseeing that we lost track of time. Plus, we also talked to all the mayors. Huh? But aren't we well connected? We're close friends with the mayor and Roland. Plus, we've met the other mayors in the course of our travels. Ah, I see. Guess your work as bracers has caused you to meet quite a few big shots. You two sure get around for junior bracers. Yeah, you might say that. Have you done any bracer assignments since we came to Granslow? I guess it's not all that different in other countries, right? Right, for a full-fledged bracer, nationality isn't an issue when it comes to your work. The prelim fights and legal procedures at the embassy kept me too busy to get any actual work done though. But hey, there are 4 other bracers on duty too, which isn't so bad. Normally that would be enough to handle most cases, I'd imagine, but with all them concentrated in Granslow, that must make it tough to handle any cases in other regions. Yeah, could be. Feel like a goose just walked over my grave. I wonder what's going on with Shira back in Roland. Now that name rings a bell. You wouldn't happen to be talking about Shirazad, would you? Do you know her?
She's our mentor, and she's been a close friend for ages. Okay, makes sense. I met her a long time ago when a case brought her to Calvard. She was fortunate to have a good master working with her from such a young age. A master? Yeah, probably dead. Ja, Shira hat nämlich Sinn auch schon kennengelernt. Please pardon me, the table for the dinner party has been set. So, und jetzt geht's endlich zum Dingens. Zum Bankett. Sinn hat sowieso Hunger, ich meine, so ein großer Körper braucht auch ein bisschen was zu essen, ne? So, auf geht's. Come on, you two. Okay, jetzt hat aber auch Bock. This is a dinner party, right? What's with all the empty plates then? Plenty of knives and forks though. That's because it's a formal dinner. Everything comes out in a specific order and starting with hors d'oeuvres. Then you use the knives and forks from the outside in. And that's all part of having good table manners. And here comes the anxiety attack. Das kann ich verstehen. Ich glaube, so ein formelles Dinner ist nicht ohne. Does mean that you get to have some of the finest food available. Manners and etiquette are secondary. Indeed. I'm told that you're acquainted with everyone who'll be attending. No need to get stressed out. Yeah, I guess that's true. Please don't encourage her. On that note, is the gentleman accompanying you going to be okay with a knife and fork? I'm told that folks from the East usually eat with chopsticks. Ne, da sieht man nochmal wieder, dass ganze Kalvardische Republik eben halt an asiatische Länder, sowas wie Japan, also ein richtiges altes Japan, aber ich glaube halt auch so ein bisschen chinesische Einflüsse, was ja logisch ist, weil Japan auch viele chinesische Einflüsse hat. Ist auch egal. Auf jeden Fall, es geht darum, dass die, wobei ist das aber schon eher japanisch mit der Kleidung und so. Vergesst, was ich gesagt habe, vor allem halt traditionell japanisch. So, you've done your research. However, I'm a firm believer in the when and liberal do as the liberal do policy. Also er will sich natürlich auch der Kultur hier anpassen und nicht unhöflich sein. Das ist nett. Das ist wirklich nett. Ja. I'm impressed you're as much a gentleman as you're a martial arts champion. You flatter me, but he really is a complete sucker for a pretty face. I think he's more being polite than elect, though. Anyway, his grace is really late. I wonder what he's up to. Huh, indeed. So if the seat at head of the table is for the Duke, then who might that other one be for? Indeed, perhaps it is intended for Princess Claudia. Your attention, ladies and gentlemen. My humblest apologies for the long delay. Presenting His Grace the Duke. Well then, I must apologize for making you wait so. I'm afraid that I was in a meeting from which I simply could not break away. This gentleman is Colonel Richard, commanding officer of the Royal Intelligence Division. I've invited him here to thank him for his tireless efforts in helping to deal with the terrorist situation. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I was quite gratified to be invited to this occasion by your honorable Duke. I ask that you pardon my uncouth soldier's uniform and allow me to sit with you. Aha, jetzt wissen wir, für wen der schuld ist, nämlich für Colonel Richard. Und für Kanone, die darf nicht sitzen. Aber wie will eine Kanone auch sitzen? Man weiß es nicht. You've got to be kidding, we're having dinner with him? Suspected this might happen, but it's still unnerving. Und jetzt wird gefuttert. Nom, 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 nom. Ich weiß auch nicht, aber diese Sprite-Gläser, die machen mich fertig. Ich finde die geil. Aber was dieser komische Haufen da soll, ich weiß es nicht. Ja, bla 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 bla. Genau, jetzt wird erstmal gelabert. Dann redet mit Mabel und dem Restaurant. Bla 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 bla. Jetzt über die Weinselektion. Weil wenn es eins gibt, was der Duke halt wirklich kann, dann ist es Essen und Trinken wahrscheinlich. Ich meine, schaut ihn euch an. Er ist gut genährt, sagen wir mal, ne? War das Fettshaming? Wenn ja, I'm sorry. It's excellent. I don't have the words to describe the sense of refinement and depth. I certainly believe I could develop a real taste for Liberian cuisine, though. Good, I'm glad to hear it. And you, young braces? I imagine you've never experienced such fine food in your life before. It's extremely delicious. Far more worthy of being associated with the royal family than the person who invited us. Haha, indeed. It is a genuine treat, huh? Hauptsache erstmal austeilen. We couldn't miss a chance to attend so prestigious an event as this. Thank you very much for the gracious invitation. Very kind of you to say so. I do finally remember what my butler has been telling me about. We met before during the ruin incident. Perhaps our fates are linked in some bizarre fashion. Yes, sir, maybe so. So I'd forgotten all about us until... Okay, also, dann ist so bräsig, er hat alles vergessen, was ihn nicht interessiert. Krass. Okay, aber für diesen Abend ist er offensichtlich gut drauf und will, dass alle mampfen. Das ist... Dass er wirklich einmal sagt, so, lasst uns unsere Stände sein, das ist doch cool. Also das muss sogar ich zugeben. Something important to say to you fine folk from representing the kingdom. I use this celebration as the place to make an important announcement. An announcement? And what might that be? I believe I will allow Colonel Richard to explain in detail. Thank you. As you are no doubt already aware, Her Majesty has been in poor health of late. However, she has been recovering and may grace us with a public appearance soon. Ah, that's excellent news. Could we possibly go and check in on her? Unfortunately, she does not consider that to be a wise decision at the moment. Within a few days, it seems likely that the terrorists plaguing the kingdom will be swept away. In light of that, the Queen's birthday celebrations will be held as originally planned. Well, the citizens will surely be happy to hear this news, as they have been looking forward to it. But surely that is not all you wish to us. Right, if that were all, you could have just sent along a message. Indeed, you are correct. Her Majesty is continuing to recover as was previously stated. However, given the gravity of her condition, she has also issued a proclamation. Due to her tenuous health, she has stated that she wishes to abdicate the throne and turn over royal authority to her nephew, Duke Dunnan. Okay, also die Königin will offensichtlich ihre Macht an Dunnan abgeben, den kleinen Lümmel. Was natürlich total bescheuert klingt, wenn man mal ehrlich ist, weil der kann ja nichts. Was wiederum bedeuten würde, dass Colonel Richard natürlich alle Fäden in der Hand halten würde, weil er ist klug und kann aus dem Schatten heraus alles, befehlen. Yeah, this conspiracy finally makes its appearance. I was surprised when Her Majesty first broached the subject as well, but her illness has left her quite frail. But it is only natural. She has ruled the kingdom for 40 years, leading it through times of strife and war. Oh, without a husband, might I add. Given that, I wish to relieve her of the stress of her duties following the festival's successful conclusion. As the heir to the throne, the decisions are mine to make. How terrible! Is Her Majesty's condition truly that severe? I am ashamed that I've never noticed any signs in any of my annual visits. Isn't this far too serious a matter to discuss at what is supposedly a casual dinner? Pardon my rudeness, but this all seems to stretch. Ja, es ist ein bisschen zu krass eigentlich für ein normales Essen. Mabel, are you saying that you cannot take His Grace at his word? No, nothing of that sort. I simply mean that, as an elected official, I don't understand why the successor to the throne can't be elected in the same fashion. It's true. If possible, I'd like to hear this directly from Her Majesty. Your unease is quite understandable. But we do ask that you try to remain your composure and allow us to continue. As mentioned earlier, I believe Her Majesty will give a formal announcement herself during the festival. Could you be persuaded to shelve your doubts until then? Well, the issue is basically this. Once this has become common knowledge, we cannot know how the citizens will react. This is why we're telling the leaders first to help stave off any... Ja, also bla bla bla. Colonel Richard lässt sich jetzt irgendeinen Quatsch einfallen, warum das cool ist, warum das so ist. Duke dann hat keine Ahnung. Man merkt einfach, dass Richard ihm so in den Mund redet und ihn legitimiert. Aber alle merken, irgendwas ist ein bisschen komisch dran. This is the world in which we are going to be living. He makes it all sense rational. Ja, das meine ich nämlich, ne? Colonel Richard weiß, den Quatsch galant zu verpacken. In other words, the official decree will be given during the birthday celebrations, but you thought it would be best to inform us first, so that we can prepare for any issues that may arise, correct? I'm glad you see we have an understanding. Ich fände es nur merkwürdig, dass er das macht, wenn irgendwelche Gäste da sind. Also es hätte ja irgendwer sein können. Er hätte ja nicht planen können, dass ausgerechnet die rankommen. If this all comes to pass, we're going to find ourselves quite busy. Yes, and we have to announce it to the citizens. I have a question. I believe that the Duke has a fair claim to the throne. However, Is there not another who also has the same right of succession? Well, no doubt you're referring to Her Majesty's granddaughter, Princess Claudia. It is true that she and His Grace have an equal claim to the throne, but it would appear that Her Majesty did not choose her due to her tender age, and I must say I agree with her wisdom in this matter. I should hardly like to impose such responsibility upon a girl so young. Yes, absolutely. For the time being, I believe it would be best for Claudia to find a fine marriage prospect. Though it is strictly informal, there is already interest from the royal families of a number of other nations. Perhaps a royal wedding could take place as soon as this year. Oh my. I understand. If that happens, then we'll have 2 major events to celebrate. I honestly think she's a bit young for marriage. Excuse me, may I ask a question? Then? I don't mind, speak freely. Sorry to seem rude, but this doesn't sound like the kind of conversation you'd want outsiders hearing. Particularly a foreigner. So how come you're making this announcement now? That is solely because of the horrendous turn of events that allowed Braces to win the championship. We had wanted to inform the guild of this advance as well. I've already discussed the idea with Her Majesty. Gotcha. I guess Liebel's military and bases are on just as good of terms as the stories say. That is because we lack the military strength of the Empire or the Republic. The harsh reality is that keeping close relations with each other is a must. In any event, do you understand our intentions? Ja, alright. We'll pass on what we've learned here to the guild then. Okay, also Colonel Richard hat sich dazu entschlossen, das zu machen, weil er die Bracer sowieso informieren wollte. Aber ich muss zugeben, ist plausibel. Ist okay. Nur was wäre, wenn wer anders gewonnen hätte? Naja. Man, I've heard some pretty unbelievable conversations in my time, but that was something else. I mean, I'm a foreigner after all, so it's not that big of a deal for me. I bet that was huge news for you guys, though. Of course it was. Can't believe things have gone this far already. Never mind. But really, what a shame. That food was so amazing and it particularly melted in the mouth. Couldn't tell what the last flavor was, though. Understandable enough, but anyway, do you want to go for a walk to work off some of that rich food stuff? Huh? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I could go for a little bit of fresh air. Genau, also wir müssen nämlich jetzt would you take a... Sure, don't get it. Must be a local thing. I think you're exaggerating a little bit. You haven't gone out to take in the sight? There's a lot of historic architecture around here, you know? If the mood hits me, I may still give it a shot. Ich find's auch geil, dass Sinn 100 Pro was ahnt, aber relativ cool bleibt. Und wir müssen jetzt ja noch zur Hofdame. Things have gotten serious. We really have to find a way to get in to see Her Majesty. First things first, we go talk to the handmaid Hilda like we promised. Genau. Also wir müssen ja jetzt noch zu Hilda und dann mit der Königin sprechen. Oh, it's you. What? Und da ist Colonel Richard. Ai. Das ist ein schönes Treffen. Ha, Stella and Joshua. This is our first opportunity to truly speak face to face, I believe. The last time we saw one another was right after Mayor Delmo was arrested, wasn't it? I'm honestly surprised that you remember us. I realized that we exchanged few words, but you made quite an impression on me. My curiosity was piqued, so I did a bit of checking up on you. I was quite surprised to learn that you were the children of Colonel Cassius. How'd you find that out? Please understand, I'm not trying to show off the intelligence division's capabilities. I'm greatly indebted to him from our time together in the army. Indeed, more than words can probably express. Might I persuade you to stay a while and talk? I've been hoping to speak with you two for quite some time now. Huh? Pardon me, Colonel, but don't you have a meeting with His Grace? I don't mind being a bit late. Yes, if we're going to talk, why don't we use the lounge inside? I'll mix you up a couple of virgin cocktails. I'll prepare them, sir. No, that won't be necessary. I want you to go to His Grace and inform him that I'll be delayed. Yes, sir. Okay, wir kriegen jetzt sogar noch eine ohne Kanone. Ist vielleicht auch ein Zeichen, dass er uns erstmal nichts Böses will. Er lässt seine Kanone draußen. Oh, ist der schlecht, aber es tut mir leid. So, er will mit uns jetzt erstmal alleine sprechen. Finde ich fair. Also ab in die Lounge. Ja, Estelle fragt zwar, was wir tun sollen, aber natürlich überhaupt keine Wahl. Direkt hinterher. So, I meet Cassius shortly after I graduated from the military academy. I was assigned to a mobile unit that was under his command, and since that time I found myself in his debt again and again, both personally and professionally. He did? And what did you think of him at that time? To put it simply, he was a hero, and a master swordsman to boot. No matter the scenario, he could find a way to handle any number of battlefronts in every direction. It wasn't just a matter of sheer tactics, he understood and could direct high-level strategy as well. Quite simply, he was a man without peer. If I didn't know better, I'd say we're talking about two different people. So you were with our father during the 100 Days War? Yes, he was my CO. Even now I can still vividly remember the excitement that filled me as we executed his plan that turned the war's tide. Anytime I get to talking about those days, time just runs away with me. But this much I can tell you. If Cassius Bride had not been part of the Royal Army, Liebel would now be part of the Erebonian Empire. No way! It's kinda hard to believe. Well, as a hero, he had a knack for doing unbelievable things. He left the army immediately after the war, declining even a medal from the Queen, so few know of his achievements. But inside the army, many soldiers still hold him up as the prime example of what a hero should be. Okay, also nach dem Krieg hat Cassius alles abgelehnt, ist sofort aus der Armee ausgetreten, wahrscheinlich weil seine Frau halt gestorben ist, und deswegen wissen halt so viele nicht davon. Das finde ich auch plausibel. Ihr merkt, also es gibt für alles eine zumindest innerlogische Erklärung, wo man so davor sitzt und sagt so, ja, ist jetzt vielleicht nicht super mega realistisch, aber passt. He never said one word about any of this to me. Well, it's not really the kind of thing you tell your daughter about. It's not fair to criticize him for that. Hey, whose side are you on? And besides, why doesn't any of this shock you like it shocks me? Did you already know about all of this or something? Well, I didn't know what he was Colonel Richard's superior officer. The rest I knew about, vaguely. Vaguely? You're an accomplice? Hey, calm down. It's not like he told me any of it. I just figured a lot of it out. He told me he didn't feel it was something worth going out of this way to tell others about. I just don't get it. When he comes back here, he is so in trouble. Please excuse us, we didn't mean to interrupt. No, seeing you like this is actually a bit of a relief. When I found out that your father was intending to leave the military, I desperately tried to stop him. But it seems that by leaving, he did what was best for him himself after all. After losing his dear wife, maybe being with you was all that could help him recover. Colonel Richard. Now then, I thank you for taking the time to come here. I really can't keep the Duke waiting, so I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. Oh, alright. Apologies for making you so late. No, not at all. You both have told me the one thing I wanted most to know. Thus, I have no regrets. Huh? Who's that again? I'm sure we'll have a chance to speak again soon. Cassius might even be with us then to share in the stories. Okay, also irgendwas wollte wissen. Who's that man and what has he done with Colonel Richard? What are you bubbling about? It's weird to hear him talking about that way. I wasn't expecting him to be so, well, nice. True, he doesn't seem all that villainous anyway. Even so, it's pretty much a foreign conclusion that he's got something up his sleeve. For now, we should... Yeah, genau. But I think that he might be playing nice just because he could get something of it. Okay, also Joshua traut der Sache nicht, bla 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 bla, but just prepared for it, don't let your guard down. Genau, it's a Bruce's job. Chill eine Runde, Estelle kommt klar und bla bla bla. Wir müssen jetzt zu Hilda, wir wollen doch jetzt zur Königin. Also das ist ja wohl das Mindeste, was wir in dieser Folge noch schaffen müssen. Genau, weil Colonel Richard kann ja auch super nett sein. Und das ist vielleicht auch schon so ein kleiner Wink mit dem Zaunpfahl für euch später. Aber jetzt erstmal ab zu Hilda. Yo, Hilda, was geht? Ah, da seid ihr ja. Ihr seid ein bisschen spät, oder? Ja, sorry, wir wurden von Colonel Richard aufgehalten. What? Jo, er hat uns ein paar Sachen über unseren Dad erzählt. Und ich glaube aber nicht, dass er irgendeine Ahnung hat, was wir vorhaben. Alles klar. Okay, yo. Stimmt, ihr seid Cassius Kinder, so. I can understand at least some of how Colonel Richard feels. Oh, do you know her dad too? He used to come here when he worked as General Morgan's aide-de-camp. I'm told that he was a school friend of the late Princess, Her Majesty's son. Late Prince? Princess Claudia's father. Yes, he was killed 15 years ago in a tragic shipwreck. Would that he were still alive today, none of this would be happening. but lamenting what might have been is a fool's errand. Evening is fast approaching. We must make our preparations at once. Come on in, Sheer. Ah, jetzt kommt wieder die andere Hofdame. Yes, thank you for remembering me. You look well, Son Joshua. I've been told you, genau, blah 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 blah. She's a great help to us whenever the princess is in the castle. Princess Claudia. It shouldn't pose a problem. Thank you. If you're ready, you should go change into your uniforms. The ribbons and the headpiece are tricky, so I'll adjust them for you. What? What do you mean? Estelle's going to need to dress as one of the maids in order to get into the royal keep. A little playing with her hair and you'll blend right in. Oh, I get it. Uniforms don't allow for much in the way of... Genau, bla 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 bla. Wir sollen uns jetzt nämlich alle verkleiden, um da reinzugehen. Wir ziehen uns einfach auch als Hofdame an. Ich glaube, das ist eine Hofdame, ne? Nein, ist auch wurscht. Als Bedienstete ziehen wir uns an und dann kommen wir da rein. Verzeihung. Oh, Leute. Ihr wisst nie, wann ich aufnehme, weil ich bin einfach immer müde jetzt. I thought so. Well, let's get this sucker on me. Why are you so excited? I'm glad you're in high spirits, but you need to remember your manners in front of the queen. You won't have me to lean on this time. Why not? You're changing too, aren't you? Pardon? I mean, he did play the princess during the play at the campus festival. Is there really that much of a difference between the fancy dress and the maid outfit? That's different, it was a play. You can't appear before Her Majesty in women's clothes. You'll be fine, it's not at all shameful or anything. Besides, you made such a gorgeous princess. Not this again. Cut the jokes, will you? Hilda, help me out here. Say something. Anyone? I see, that shouldn't pose a problem. Don't you have the extra hairpiece designed for the princess? Yes, it's never been used though. He has that full dark hair, so it would probably look good on him. Okay, kriegt eine Perücke und fertig. Wait a minute. Nein. Alright. I have to change. I can do it myself. You're not planning on using makeup too, are you? Kids these days. Und... Oh my. Ta-da! What do you think? I think it suits her very well. Such a bright, active maid in training, and after only just coming to the castle too, you certainly have me convinced. And with the hair down like that, no one will be any the wiser. Perhaps you'd like to work at Windsor Castle for real when this is all settled? Well, we already work as braces, so... Anyway, come on Joshua, get out of here. No chance I can talk you out of this. None at all. You're just making this take longer. Fine, you're impossible sometimes. Und da ist sie. Ich finde es einfach immer lustig, dass Joshua als Mädchen hübscher ist. It's almost frightening how good that looks. Isn't it awesome? It looks better on him than it does on me, and I'm an actual girl. A bit of a makeup can make all the difference in the world. Please just say you're done. Well, I suppose so. I'll show you the way to the royal keep. You need to make certain you watch me and learn how a maid handles herself. Yes, ma'am. We're finally gonna meet the queen in person. Yes, this is the do or die moment. We just have to stay focused and get to the royal keep. It's hard to take you seriously in that outfit. Well, excuse me, this was your idea. I can't believe you've got the nerve to pick on... Sorry, don't get all mad. Ja, okay. Also sie teasen sich ein bisschen. Bla 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 bla. Und jetzt geht's zum Royal Keep. Oh, das ist cool. Guck mal, wir spielen jetzt auch wirklich... Ja, okay, wird nicht angezeigt. Aber wir spielen jetzt Hilda. Weil man spielt ja immer die erste Figur in dieser ganzen Reihe, die hinten herläuft. Das ist cool. Wird es jetzt passieren? Werden wir jetzt endlich mit der Königin quatschen? Wahrscheinlich schon, ne? Ne, hier ging es lang. Ich bin ein bisschen aufgeregt. Selbst wenn ich weiß, was passiert. Hilda, what business do you have with Her Majesty at this hour? I'm bringing some tea and spoons at her request. The current situation means that Her Majesty is denied the right to even go about her daily life as she wishes after all. Such harsh words. Who are these maids with you? I don't recognize them. His Grace ordered me to hire on some additional staff to help. They've only just arrived at the castle today. Really now? Oh, you're pretty cute. Thank you. Huh? Why do I get the feeling we've met before? Do you stare so hard at every young lady you see? I do hope you're not thinking any untoward thoughts. I'd rather think that His Grace and the Colonel would disapprove. Hey, it's not like that. We're the elite of the Royal Army. We wouldn't do that. All's well then. Now will you please allow us to pass? Pardon us, ladies. Please go ahead. Und wir haben es geschafft. That was intense. Thanks, Hilda. You're a real lifesaver. Yeah, that was really well done. I'm just glad I could help. Now then, are you planning to change your clothes before going to see Her Majesty? If you'd prefer, I can just show you the way now. I think I'm okay as is. Boy clothes, now. Schön. Oh, for the love of, why are you always so self-conscious? What was wrong with that you had on? It's not an issue of self-consciousness. By the way, Hilda, is this room what I think it is? Yes, it is Princess Claudia's bedroom. But she rarely sleeps in the castle, so the room is all but unused. No kidding? But I heard what the princess was that the princess was tainted to the queen. I guess that's just gossip then. You'd have to ask Her Majesty for the full details. Her room, genau, also wir können jetzt endlich mit der Königin quatschen. Wir gehen jetzt nach oben. Also müsst ihr euch das vorstellen, es ist wie nochmal ein Haus auf dem Schloss drauf. Ihr habt ja gesehen, es gibt einen eigenen Eingang und hier drin ist dann nochmal, ja, es ist wirklich wie so ein eigenes, kleines Anwesen halt, ne? Okay, hier gibt es nur eine Tür. Aber auch hier wieder unglaublich verschwindeter Platz. Was ist das hier für ein Vorplatz? Warum ist hier nichts? Irgendwie wenigstens so eine Spielmatte oder so. Alles klar, ab geht's. I beg your pardon, Your Majesty. I've brought the two I spoke of before. This is Joshua and Estelle. Thank you kindly. By all means, enter. As you wish. I'll wait for you here. You two go on in. Right, pardon us. Oh. I bid you welcome. My name is Alicia von Auslese. I am the 26th monarch in the nation of the nation of Libel. I'm Estelle Bright. I'm a junior bracer of the Bracer Guild, and I'm Joshua Bright of the same affiliation. It is a great honor to meet you, Your Majesty. Estelle and Joshua. I have truly been looking forward to meeting you both. I regret that I cannot offer you proper hospitality, but I have prepared some tea. Please have some and relax. I see, so Professor Russell asked you to bring this information. A pitch-black orbment capable of negating all other orbital energies. And you say that the Colonel has acquired it? The Professor told us that you might have some idea of what he intends to do with it, Your Majesty. Can you tell us anything? I have but a vague idea. But I did not think that the Colonel even knew of it. Perhaps I am worrying about nothing, but even so. Excuse me, but what is this vague idea you have? I suppose there's no harm in telling you. Roughly 10 years ago, a massive orbital reaction was detected beneath Grandcell. Professor Russell was the individual who came to investigate. Did this happen in the vicinity of the sewers? No, far deeper underground than that, in fact. Professor Russell was under the impression that it might be a relic of the ancients that still functioned. Also irgendwo unter dem Schloss haben sie vor 15 Jahren, glaube ich, war es, ein Zeichen, einen Stoß entdeckt. Ein Orbelstoß. Ihr wisst, was ich meine. Und jetzt, dann Professor Russell hat das untersucht und hat halt gedacht, alles klar, das gehört zur antiken Zivilisation, von der wir auch schon öfters gehört haben, die halt vor 1500 Jahren oder sowas gelebt hat. Spannend. Wow. So it was a bona fide artifact then. Most artifacts I know have lost their function, like the mechanisms on top of the towers, but every now and again you find one that still functions, like Mayor Delmo's family heirloom. And something like that is beneath Grandcell, so what does that tell us about the gospel? Maybe it could be used to halt the artifact's functions? Could it do that? Yes. However, we were unable to establish the nature of the artifact, or indeed why it was buried beneath the city. But it is beyond my imaginance how the Colonel could know of its existence. Professor Russell's research on it was kept strictly confidential and off the record. I see. In any event, it seems likely that trouble is on the way. Honestly, just as I start to think maybe the Colonel might be a slightly nicer guy than we were giving him credit for, But when someone's trying to stir up some trouble, that's when us braces come in. We won't let him get away with whatever evil scheme he's trying to pull off. I'd expect no less from Cassius' daughter. You acquainted with our father, Your Majesty? He was a friend of my late son's and a great savior of the nation, to the nation. Even after he retired from the army, he would sometimes undertake requests for me. Really? I didn't know that. I imagine that there were a great many things about him that you do not know, including the precise role he played in the war 10 years ago. I assume you have not been told? Well, nothing super detailed. Perhaps then that is the role that I am meant to play. Estelle and Joshua, will you indulge me by listening to an old story? Oh yes, absolutely. Okay, sie will uns erzählen von dem 100-Tage-Krieg und der Rolle von Cassius Breiterin. 10 Jahre im Frühling. A tragedy occurred in the southern reaches of the Erebonian Empire. Its cause is yet unknown, so that is something I must omit. The Empire used that event as a pretext for their invasion of Libel, so began the sad times that would become known as the 100 Days' War. Just as the Empire made its declaration of war, a massive military force breached the Harken Gate. Da waren wir ja, da wo General Morgan sitzt, der grumpige Mensch. Grummelig heißt es, glaube ich, im Deutschen eher. In what seemed like scant moments, all of Libels became occupied territories save for Grancer. It is said, wahrscheinlich deswegen auch die Mauer um die Stadt rum, ne? It is said that the invasion force was 3 times the size of the entire Royal Army. Also 3-mal so groß waren die erebonischen Kräfte, die angerückt sind. The reinforcements from Calvert were too late to stop their advance. It was but a matter of time before Grancer too would fall. But 2 months after the outbreak of hostilities, the war changed in a way that none could have imagined. Patrol airships had just been developed and were used to recapture Libel's checkpoints, severing the Imperial Army's communications. The Royal Army then set about recapturing the Maya regions one by one using ships launched from Leiston Fortress. Zeiss, Ruin, Bose, Roland. With their supply lines severed, the Erebonian forces occupying each region were swiftly crushed. Und da ist er, General Morgan, Cassius Bright und Colonel Richard sogar. And the one behind this plan of counteroffensive was none other than one Colonel Cassius Bright. It was your father who was General Morgan's right-hand man at the time, as well as Colonel Richard's superior officer. Afterward, with the intercession of the Bracer Guild and the Septian Church, the war was brought to an end. But it was at this time that Cassius lost what he treasured most in all the world. Lena, your mother, Estelle. That clock tower was destroyed in the Imperial Army's vain attempts to hold back the counteroffensive. What followed, I am sure you know. Cassius was not even able to be by his wife's side at her final moments. No, I had no idea. And he believed that the military operation that he himself had planned effectively caused her death. Also Cassius gibt sich selbst dafür die Schuld, dass seine Frau gestorben ist, weil ohne seine Gegenmaßnahme natürlich dieser letzte verzweifelte Versuch war, Roland noch zu halten, nicht passiert wäre. Wobei man aber sagen muss, es ist die Schuld des Imperiums. Ganz ehrlich. Blaming himself, he left the military and took up the path of the Bracer, all to stay with the only one he had left, you. At this time he swore he would be able to protect those he loved. Dad, that idiot. It wasn't his fault that Mom died. How could he even think that? Estelle. Yes, you are correct. Given that all he lost was in service to his country, the responsibility falls upon me. And so, I am sorry, Estelle. I failed to protect your mother. I have wished to apologize to you for a long time. But you don't need to apologize. You've protected the peace of this country ever since the war ended. The peace that Dad and all the other soldiers who defended Libel in the war fought so hard to protect. And the peace that Mom gave her life for so I could live in it. You have nothing to be sorry for. Estelle, you have a kind heart and I'm grateful. It gladdens my heart to have finally met you in person. No, now more than ever, Your Majesty. However, that is why I do not wish you to put yourself in danger. I would like for you to remove yourself from any dealings with this matter. What? But Lieutenant Schwartz asked us to help you. Thank you, I'm grateful. Okay, die Königin will nicht, dass wir helfen. Das ist frech.
Als ob wir uns da jetzt noch rausziehen können. Wir sollen auf unseren Vater warten, bis der wieder da ist. If I may, Your Majesty, the peace that Dad restored and that you protect, though it has held firm, now trembles like a leaf in the breeze. Joshua, if the Colonel is able to use the gospel for whatever purpose he intends, and if he succeeds in making the Duke the new King of Libel, then what will become of that peace? I ask only that you consider that. Your Majesty, right when we became junior bracers, we inherited a whole lot of work from Dad. After the Sky Bandit incident, we got that letter and package, and we've been running around creation ever since. It feels to us like our dad's been nudging us in the back this whole time. That's why I want to defend peace, so that everyone we've met and everyone we care about can go on living secure and happy lives. Just like you and just like Mom and Dad, I'm doing this because it's what I believe is right. I really want to see it through. Estelle. It seems she was right about you, huh? I too am ready. I would like for the two of you to carry my request to the Bracer Guild. Your Majesty, my league. We will do whatever you ask. My request is for the Bracer Guild to rescue those being held captive by the Intelligence Division. Amongst them is my granddaughter, Claudia. Aha, so the princess is being held captive somewhere. Verzeihung. Yes, this coup d'etat, ich kann das nicht, sorry, started when I backed her as the successor to the throne. In other words, Duke Denon was out of the running. Yes, though he's my nephew, he is possessed of a considerable number of character flaws. In brief, where he's lacking my granddaughter shines. For the sake of this nation's future, I would have my granddaughter succeed me. Well, I don't actually know her, but I personally lean toward the idea that your judgment should really be trusted. No matter the era, there will always be those who object strongly to a woman wielding political power. Not to mention the memory of the invasion by a large power is still relatively fresh. Some of them will perceive a succession of 2 consecutive queens to be a sign of weakness. It is hardly surprising that such a notion has taken root in the minds of some. Some, including Colonel Richard, I presume. Quite right. Claudia's pending succession to the throne caught him quite unawares. That, along with his passion of passing of this information to the Duke, is what led to this coup. This was all staged so that Libel would become a strong military power with the Colonel ruling from the shadows. I see. That finally let us see the whole picture. So if Libel became a militarist country, what would happen then? A great many things. Taxes would be levied to fill the war chest. Genau, also Colonel Richard hat halt vor, Libel zum militärischen Macht hochzuzüchten, was natürlich jetzt nicht so cool ist und die Spannung zwischen anderen Nationen nicht gerade erleichtern würde. Aber auch er macht es im Grunde genommen, um das Land zu schützen. Auf eine ganz verdrehte, but I never agreed that they were the right course of action to take. Genau, also die Königin sagt halt zu Recht, das ist es halt nicht wert, aber sie versteht zumindest, wo das herkommt. Bla bla bla. Defending our nation goes hand in hand with the free culture exchange and trade. Genau, dieser ganze freie Austausch mit anderen Staaten wäre dann halt ein bisschen schwierig, ne? Makes sense to me. The Colonel, however, finds such notions to be womanly and foolishly idealistic. And so he demanded that I abdicate the throne in exchange for Claudia's safe return. Many people have had family members taken to ensure that they would not dare to oppose the Colonel. But I am the queen, and I will not allow all that I love about my country to be destroyed simply because of blood ties. Still, she's my only granddaughter. I cannot simply allow her to die. Your Majesty, please try to relax. We hear and comply with your request. We will see to it that the princess is rescued from those who have imprisoned her. Thank you, both of you. With that reassurance, I will do all I can to oppose the Colonel's demands. Have you any other requests, Your Majesty? The gospel still has to be dealt with. And I don't think we should just leave you here. I appreciate your sentiment, Estelle, but the present state of affairs is not contingent upon my freedom of imprisonment. The gospel shall continue to weigh heavily on my mind for a great many reasons. For my part, I will attempt to ascertain the Colonel's true intentions with it. Okay, wieder umgezogen. Super nice, but with a seriously strong will. I hope I'm even 1/10 that cool when I get old. Cool? Did you actually just call the queen that? Still, she definitely has what it takes to govern a whole country. Genau, wir sind beeindruckt von der Dame. Right, but you know, I'm still freaking out about what the Queen told us about that. Okay. Bla bla bla, genau. Jetzt geht's erstmal weiter. Then we should return to the waiting room at once. It's already after 11 o'clock, actually. It's almost midnight. Okay, bla 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 bla. Und jetzt geht's erstmal wieder zurück. Are you going home for the day, Miss Hilda? Yes, I believe so. Just to be sure not to do Her Majesty any further discourtesy. That's not fair, but please relax. We are patriots to the core. That's good to hear. I believe that we shall be on our way. By the way, ladies. Huh? I don't think we ever got your names. May we ask them? My, isn't that a lovely name? It has a pleasant ring to it. Thank you very much. How about you, miss? You may call me Karin. Karin, you say? That's a very pretty name. You're too kind, sir. I'm rather fond of myself. Oh, you know. Right. We're with the Bishops. My name is... I think that's just about enough. I sense an ulterior motive at work. No, I mean, at least not from us. Okay, die wollen uns angraben. Zu Recht, wir sehen hübsch aus. Wir sehen wahnsinnig hübsch aus. Warum sollte man uns nicht angraben? Aber bitte ein bisschen sensibler und ein bisschen nicht so übergriffig. So. Well, aren't you Mr. Popularity? It was like their eyes all changed when you told them your name. Hey, it was not. I didn't see you shying away from joining in the conversation. Sure, but that doesn't mean I wasn't nervous. I kind of lost all my confidence there. Huh? What's all this noise about? Oh, Duke Dunnan. She's the lady of the card. Hey, you amazed. She looks familiar. These are two of the new hires whom I'm instructing. This is Lena and that's Karen. They're still quite inexperienced, so I'm giving them some extra training time. Okay, Philipp erkennt uns hundertprozentig. You look much like my niece. My eyes were playing tricks on me, it seems. Aber er ist cool. Also Philipp ist eine coole Sau. Er passt so ein bisschen auf. Please don't concern yourself. Ja, bla 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 bla. Der gräbt uns auch an. You shall attend to me this evening. Lena, you shall attend to me this evening. Er will uns aufs Zimmer holen. Das ist ein bisschen gruselig. I don't want to serve him tea. I don't think tea is what he once served. Ja, er will vielleicht ein bisschen was anderes. Your Grace, your flirtations, while flattering, are best saved for another time and place. All of the maids in the castle work directly in service to Her Majesty Queen Alicia. I trust you've not forgotten? I know. Some folks simply can't appreciate a joke. This castle will be mine in a week's time anyway. We can set aside time for some fun then. Ja, bla 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 bla. Und Philipp sagt auch, ey, beruhig dich mal. As you wish, Your Grace. Your room is right over there. Just let me know if you have any problems, anything at all. Okay, er gräbt uns immer noch an. Es ist ein bisschen gruselig. Er muss ja sehen, dass wir viel, viel jünger sind als er. Ein bisschen widerlich. I apologize unreservedly for all the fuss. His Grace will likely remember nothing of this come the morning. Please set your minds at ease. Madame and young Mrs., I beg your pardon, but I must take my leave. I feel so badly for him. He truly seems to bear the weight of the world on his shoulders. Oh, do you know Mr. Fuller personally? Yes, ever since we were children. Though not nearly as well as we once did, thanks to the one he serves. I see. He sure seems like he's nervous all the time, doesn't he? I bet that everything between the Duke and the Colonel has him completely on edge. Probably, yeah. By the way, what was that you were saying earlier about being the popular one? The Duke certainly seemed awfully fond of you. Please, I'd like to keep my food in my stomach, thank you. Okay. Well, you see, blah 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 blah. Come closer. Now, do you understand? Sie hat ihr erzählt, was sie eigentlich da hinten machen soll. Okay. Hopeless, completely hopeless. Thanks for everything, both of you. If not for you, I don't know what we have done. Please, it was at least we could do in Her Majesty's service. I only ask that you complete the request she made of you. I feel the same way. I beg of you, do everything in your power to save the princess. How you... Bla 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 bla. Genau, wir sollen jetzt die Prinzessin retten. Und das machen wir auch. Und zwar in der nächsten Folge. Da wird es richtig rund gehen. Da werden wir die Prinzessin retten. Da werden wir ganz viel Quatsch machen. Es wird auf jeden Fall ganz, ganz fantastisch. Und ihr dürft es nicht verpassen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.